listening to Alicia Keys, y'all. Hey. Okay, here we go. Thanks for joining in, y'all. I greatly appreciate your time, your support, joining in with me each night. Did I say each night? On Wednesday nights, right? Thanks for joining in on Wellness Wednesday. And then if you're following me in the morning time, I do a video at about 7:15 in the morning, right? I do a video. And I've been doing this for all this month so far. So I've done 15 morning videos, okay? And then I do my evening videos on Wednesday, right? So I'm doing quite a bit of videos every day. And I'm doing these videos on Facebook. So if you're following me on Facebook, you're going to get something different than when I do the video here. Because for some reason, I can't, download the video on Facebook and then turn around and upload it here on Instagram or on my YouTube channel. So you get a different twist. So if you're following me on Facebook, watch the Facebook video that I do in the morning time. Then turn around and watch this one here on Instagram because you're going to get a different twist to it, right? Now, I just did a video on Facebook and now I'm doing a video here. So you're going to get something different if you're following me on Facebook. So, and then with that being said, please follow me on my YouTube channel. And like and subscribe to, watch a video and subscribe to my channel on YouTube. I am building my YouTube channel up in order for me to be able to share more information about, the different topics that I talk about. So follow me on YouTube, okay? So you see over there, if you see the button to click on there to subscribe to my channel, follow me on Instagram as well. And so I'm just really trying to get the message out there in order to help. I talk about relationships. I talk about family issues. I talk about domestic violence. We talk about toxic, unhealthy relationships. We talk about mental health issues. Oh, wow. What else do I talk about? Suicide prevention. I'm just talking about all kinds of topics, right? Anything that matters to you, that's going to help you to become your authentic, unique self is what I'm always talking about, right? So continue to keep following me. I greatly appreciate your time, as I mentioned before, and your effort and your support. So thank you. All right, we got all the housekeeping cleaning out. We're done. So now what I'm going to talk about is, what about abusive relationships and toxic relationships? Is there a difference? Is there a difference between toxic and abuse? Yes, there is. There is clearly a difference between toxic relationships and an abusive relationship. And guess what? I'm a great person to talk to you about it because I was in a domestic violence marriage, right, for a number of years. And even though I didn't know that I was in an abusive relationship, I learned a lot after I got out of that marriage, right? And learned so much to where now I'm actually a facilitator. I teach about domestic violence. So I share a lot of great information. I've written books about domestic violence and about healing. So I'm like really super charged up about being able to get the message out and help as many people as I can. So please like this video, share it, click on the link, share the video with another friend, send them to my page so that they can watch it and they can get the information just as good as you got it, right? Firsthand. And so with that being said, let's just go ahead and just talk about what are the differences between a toxic relationship and an abusive relationship. What's the difference? So thank you for asking. I'm going to share that information with you. Now, first we're going to talk about an abusive relationship because most times people are thinking they're in an abusive relationship when they're in these toxic relationships. And that's not the case. So I want to share this with you. Let me just turn on my air because it's starting to get a little hot up in here, right? Got me all sweating and stuff. So let's talk about abusive relationships. So now what is the difference between, what is an abusive relationship? What's the difference between the two, right? So now I'm going to give you a definition of what an abusive relationship is. So this is really going to clear up a lot. So the definition of an abusive relationship is, it's a pattern of abusive behaviors in a relationship that one person is displaying, and he or she is doing this for a purpose of to either gain or maintain power and control over that other person that they're in that relationship with. Okay, so that's their main focus. They want control over that individual. Sounds kind of crazy, doesn't it? Why would one adult want to get control over another adult? But that's what happens in an abusive relationship. And then they try all different kinds of tactics to use on that person to gain the control. They'll do the manipulating, the gaslighting. They'll be controlling to that individual. They'll withhold affection from that person. They'll become physical, abusive with that person, verbally abusive, emotional, mentally, psychologically abusive to that individual. And it's all for them to break that person down, okay? To break that person's spirit down so that they can take control over that relationship. Now, for them to control that individual, they have to make that person feel less than. They have to make that person feel like they're not worthy, like they're not of value, right? To damage that person's self-esteem and self-worth. So all of this comes along with an abusive relationship. These are different signs, red flags you want to look for. These are different behaviors that those individuals are going to do in order to control that other mate that's in the relationship, right? So their focus is to gain, maintain power and control over that individual. Totally different than a toxic relationship, okay? So as I mentioned to you, they're going to do everything they can to beat that person down spiritually, okay? When I talk about spiritually, don't think about church all the time. Think about your inner person, okay? The inner person inside of you, the person that is being abused, the person that is crying out for help, the person that's dealing with depression, anxiety, PTSD, that person whose spirit is broken to where that person actually feels like they're a child in that relationship, okay? They feel like there's nothing to them, okay? They feel as though, like I said, the less than, like they don't measure up to that individual. They feel helpless, right? As though this is the best that I can get is with this person. They're also living in hope that this person is going to make a change, okay? So there is clearly a difference between domestic violence in an abusive relationship versus a toxic relationship, okay? So now everything that I've shared with you all, are different forms of it, Let me just add a few more. They'll take your money. That's financial abuse. They will talk negative to you. They will, be demeaning towards you. They'll say joking, make you be the brunt of the joke. They'll be sarcastic with you in a negative way to hurt your feelings, right? Not in a way to make you laugh, but in a way to hurt your feelings. And so they'll do these different things. They'll, blame you for stuff that you didn't do. They'll try to make you act like you're going crazy, or not act like, they'll make you go crazy, like, your mind isn't there. And then your friends and family is like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with Jackie? Why is she acting this way? Because this person here is such a great person to be with. Why are they having problems? It's got to be something Jackie's doing, right? So why can't it be that person? But this is the types of tactics that individual will do to make it seem like you're losing your mind and they're still the ideal person, okay? Because their anger and frustration is towards you. It's not going to be towards anybody else. So those are some of the traits that, and I can go for hours and hours talking about domestic violence. I told you I'm a teacher about it, right? I'm a facilitator for it. So I can go hours talking about domestic violence, but I wanted to kind of give you a great synopsis of what domestic violence is, what abusive relationship is, okay? So now I've given you that. So now, guess what? We're going to talk about toxic, okay? So toxic relationship is, and I'm going to give you an example about one too. So a toxic relationship is a relationship where you got involved with this person. There's no abuse. Okay, let me just say this right off bat. There's no abuse in this relationship, in this toxic relationship. So it's not an abusive one. What makes it toxic is because you and that person can't get along. You don't communicate effectively. You're always arguing about something. Okay, something is always wrong in that relationship, and you're always arguing about it. Now that is not the same as an abusive relationship, because you're not arguing and calling that person out of their name. You're not verbally abusive to that person. You're arguing because, let me just back up and share with you. So you meet this person, he or she is fine, you looking like, ooh, their body is together, he got abs, she got abs, beautiful facial features for this person, body is rocking, they could have a nice car, real sharp car, right? Maybe they got a beautiful home. This person's making some good money, so you figure, oh wow, they got some money, okay? So you're like, wow, this person's buying things for me, we spending time together, we hanging out, and oh man, and the sex, oh wow, I thought everything was good until we actually had sex, and oh my gosh, the sex is off the chain, right? So it's like, wow, this gotta be the person for me, because this person rocked my world, right? So you're just thinking all of these different thoughts like, wow, this is really happening, okay? I'm really feeling this person. So you get into this relationship with this individual, and, you know, you guys are arguing, you stand up late because you're not agreeing with things, you know, you having difficulty with understanding the person's mindset because you guys haven't really taken the time to get to know each other in that way. Maybe you had sex on the first night and you're like, wow, this got to be the person, right? Maybe it was a couple nights later and you had sex with that person. This is like, man, this is it, okay? This is the right person for me. But there's no substance in that relationship, right? Maybe that person could be jealous, okay? And that person is jealous. They're a jealous individual, and you didn't know that. And now you're finding out that this person is jealous. They're accusing you of doing things, and you're not doing things. So you guys are arguing about that. They got trust issues, right? You know, it could be a situation where that person is being possessive, okay? So, you know, they just want you all to themselves. They don't want you to, you know, spend time with your friends or anything. And so you arguing about that. Well, hey, I got a life before I met you. And, you know, I may want to go to the gym. I may want to hang out with my friends. But, you know, you all tripping over here, you know. So it's like, what's going on? This is what you're arguing about, okay? It could even be that one person is more dominant than the other person. The other person could be bossy, okay? And want to just say, well, this is what I want. You know, I want it to be this way. This is my way or the highway. Or maybe the person could be selfish and they just want things done for them. They don't want to do anything for you, right? They don't want to look out for you in the relationship. And you over there like, well, wow, this is not a good relationship if we're not, you know, looking out for each other. You know, it could be a thing where maybe this person felt some rejection from before, or maybe they're rejecting you because they're so involved with their career. You know, maybe they're involved with their children, grandchildren, and spending more time with them and not as much time with you. And you sitting back like, wow, what's the deal? What's going on? Why aren't we spending time together, right? What's happening? And so you're on the other end trying to figure that out, like what is going on. So you have all of that you're thinking about, you know, and then you also on the other end, you're trying to figure out what's going on. We arguing about stuff, you know, this person is checking my phone, they looking at on my social media account, you know, we just arguing back and forth, we're not agreeing with anything. You know, we lack substance in the relationship. We lack communication in the relationship. So you breaking up, you're getting back together. You're breaking up, you're getting back together. We've heard back in the day that kind of relationship is called what? It's like a toxic relationship, or it's called a love-hate relationship, right? But in actuality, what kind of relationship is it really? It's really a toxic relationship. Some people say drama-filled. It's really a toxic, unhealthy relationship. Whereas an abusive relationship is severely an unhealthy relationship, right? But on this end, you have an unhealthy relationship and it's toxic. Why is it toxic? Because there's no foundation in this relationship. You two are forcing a relationship. You're trying to make it work when it's really not. And you both feel like you're drowning in this relationship. You're not able to you know, pull yourself back up to keep from drowning in this pool, right? And you're not able to communicate effectively. Why? Because there's no substance in the relationship. That's one thing you guys forgot, is to have communication. You looked at how beautiful that person looked, the banging body that person had. You looked at how much money that person had, the type of car that person drive, the type of job they have, the type of house they live in. You know, you were looking at all of the exterior stuff and not looking at the internal stuff, what really makes up the person, the characteristics of that individual, right? The substance of that person. You didn't look at any of that. You were looking at all the outer stuff. And so when you got into this relationship and you're like, well, why aren't we working? Why aren't we communicating? I mean, we love each other. We get along at times, but then we bumping heads. You know, we not agreeing. He wants a baby. I don't want a baby. She wants kids. I don't want kids. She want to get married. I don't want to get married. He wants to get married. I don't want to get married. You back and forth, back and forth. You can't agree on anything. And then even if you're talking about getting married and you're like, okay, well, I want this to happen at the marriage. Well, I want this to happen at the wedding. Well, I want this for, you know, for the reception. And no, I want this. You back and forth and you can't agree on anything that matters the most in that relationship, because you got into that relationship not on a solid foundation. Okay. And so because you didn't, that's why you're having the difficulties that you're having in this toxic, unhealthy relationship. So basically, I'm just saying the two of you don't need to be together, or you take some time and you figure it out. Well, how can we work through this? Write down some things of, what do you think about? How do you feel about this? How do you feel about that? And the two of you look at the paper and you're trying to figure out, how can we compromise in this area? How can we work this out? If we really love each other, we want to be together, how can we work this out so that it's no longer toxic? You can put it into, make it into a healthier relationship, right? But you got to do the work. I'm going to mention to you, definitely, you can go for counseling. That will definitely help. You can do therapy separate, or you can do it together. If you guys are planning on staying together, if you happen to break up, and, you know, each person go to therapy separately. I'm a huge proponent on therapy, okay? It does work. I've gone to therapy in my lifetime, and it does work, okay? You're paying this person to listen to you. You're paying this person to give you advice, okay? If you go to one and that person don't give you good advice, then what do? You leave from that person and you go to another one, okay? You don't give up and say, I'm not going to therapy because they didn't give me no good advice. You find a new therapist, okay? So, same thing with abusive relationships. Go to therapy. I went to therapy after getting out of my abusive relationship after a divorce. I even went to therapy when I was in the relationship, okay? So therapy does work. You have to put in the time, put in the effort. It does work. So with that being said, I hope I have shared some great information for you guys, and that it's going to be very beneficial. It will help inspire you, encourage you. It'll help you get on track. It'll help you see what kind of a relationship you currently are in, or a relationship that you were in before, okay? And you can look back over 2 or 3 relationships and look and really be honest about it and say, was it toxic? Was it abusive? Was it healthy? Was it unhealthy? What kind of relationship was I in? Do I want to keep repeating that in my current situation and in my future? You know, if you're not dating now, hey, do I want to backtrack and date somebody from my past, or do I want to look forward and look at how can I do it differently, right? It starts from with you. You got to be different so you can attract somebody that's healthier. So you can attract somebody with some substance, and you can have a better, happy, healthier relationship, okay? So, with that being said, I think I've shared quite a bit with you guys. If you have any other questions for me, all of my information is into the feed of the video. I have some great books that I have included in here as well. I have a book on domestic violence and 2 books on healing, one for preteens and one for adults. So by all means, please go ahead and go and follow the link that I put into the feed of this video. And also, like I said, you know, help me build my YouTube channel. And with that being said, you guys have a great rest of your day. See you in the morning at 7:15. Bye-bye.